some diverse and inclusive approach to disaster resilience is not just about being fair, but it's about being effective. So we have to value contribution from every community member so that we can build collaboration, strengthen relationship in the community, and create the strategy that leave nobody behind. So this session will be deepened into a diverse and energetic world of building resilience in urban communities through different tools. We will hear examples from different countries, and it's about emphasizing the importance of including everyone, working together and sparking creativity in building local community resilience. So the session outcome is expect for you to come back home with the idea and suggestion to improve community readiness and local preparedness for extreme events, and using the practical and inclusive implementation. So may I invite our five panelists. The first person, may I invite Mr. Dang Nguyen Minh, the Director of Division of Community-Based Disaster Risk Management from Vietnam Disaster and Management Authority. Mr. Yeah, please, sir. The second chair is the first one is mine, so please. The second person, may I invite Mr. Santi Sawangpai, Disaster Prevention and Relief Officer from Mahasarakham Province. Sir, thank you. The third person, Dr. Bun Anand Nathakun, Assistant Professor from Faculty of Agriculture at Architecture and Planning, Thammasat University, ค่ะ อาจารย์เชิญค่ะ and fourth person, our one and only lady, Miss Waritha Wannatong, นะคะ Urban Governance Specialist from Asian Disaster Preparedness Center, and the last one is Mr. Porn Pasert, I'm sorry, Mr. Porn Pasert แก้วสมศักดิ์ นะคะ Artist, Architect and Cultural Heritage Practitioner from Laos. Okay, so we will start with 10 minutes, around 10 minutes presentation from every speaker. The first one, I would like to invite Mr. Dang Nguyen Minh, the Director of Division of Community-Based Disaster Risk Management, Vietnam Disaster and Management Authority, to talk about the current situation of CBDRM in Vietnam and the strategy for community resilience. And he doesn't have a presentation, but he's gonna speak about the situation, the topic in Vietnam, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, friends and colleagues. Please allow me to talk something about the current community-based disaster risk reduction in Vietnam. And please allow me to talking without the presentation. Actually, I have one presentation, but I don't think it's better when I'm saying. As one of the most country affected by the and very sensitive to the climate change and heavily affected by the disasters, Vietnam's government also pay high attention about it in order to reduce the maximize the impact of the minimum impact of the climate change and disaster as well. Of course, Vietnam government for building the communities resilience. Vietnam also implement the two measures, the group of the series of the solution. The one is structure. This morning you may heard about that. We in the structural measures, we also invest to ensure the safety of the diet, river diet, sea diet, to protect the lowland along the offshore along the river plan, build the reservoirs, planting, and preserve the some of the ecology belt system. In terms of the non-physical structure in policy, recently, our government also revised the relevant laws. The first is the natural disaster prevention and control laws has been revised, and following that, decrees resolution also issued to do it. Of course, we have the law on the environment protection and forestry protection, and another related to. Of course, besides with the legislation, government also issues from the target program. What I mentioned here is the program on the community-based disaster reduction and the public awareness raising. We are now at the second step of that, with the vision to 2030. The first, the CBDM has delivering in Vietnam in 2009. We target to the 60,000, maybe more, half the most community in Vietnam, and including some of the most vulnerable the urban area, not focused only rural. The second step also, the second step start from 2013 to 2020, but more focused on the urban area, because nowadays in Vietnam we are facing with the serious and stress from disaster, many times disaster for the season urban area, flooding, typhoon, whirlwind, and fires. Sure, you can heard from our newspaper about that. So what CBDM programs include? Within the government program with target for whole country, but more focused on the most vulnerable community. And we focus on through measures activity. The first, we revise on the policy and guidance and material in order to have the involvement and to support the community involvement on DRR. The second, we focus on the activity, but mostly focus on the training and the orientation about the government staff at all level in order to respond with the DRR. The second, the third, also the focus one is we focus on to deliver the communication, training, and guiding to enhance community awareness about the disaster, to training the knowledge about the DRR, understand it, to train and to communicate about the climate change, and something like that. Just we have three components like that. Now it means legislation, setups, and community people, whereas the people, that three. And up to now, it's going very well because it is the second stage. Now provincial. Now we as a focal point for two colleagues to gathering on the what have done and provincial. Just almost the province have the plan to do about CBDM, and of course not almost but almost district, almost 2/3 of the district also they have plan, but commune I'm really not so sure about that. They have plan at provincial. And they can use the guidance orientation material and the guidance from the central government, and they localize us, and they distribute, and they can organize about the communication about that. So up to now, but almost of the most vulnerable communes, they have and engage and involve on the CBM community people. That's the only that I can say with you. And the second one is now there's some challenges. Before is financial. Now they can the local people, they are proactive, allocated a firm budget for that, and they can use the contingency financial budget to do so, but not meet the requirement, but also they have. That's a situation right now, and of course we have a very good coordination with and going with from donors from the NGOs community and the private sector, some private sector. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. So you start from the national policy, and you also train government staff to know how to do CBDRM, and also work with the local community and local authority to do CBDRM. You also equip them with the tools and manual so that they can do CBDRM on their own. And right now they are able to also commit some budget to do CBDRM as well. And because CBDRM in Vietnam started since 2009, right? And you have a huge number to achieve, like thousands of community that must be doing CBDRM, and you still Vietnam is still doing that. I also heard that this is the ad from my own observation, that I see that Vietnam also has disability inclusion, gender inclusion into CBDRM. And we also noticed that CBDRM in Vietnam is a word for rural and also for urban community. Because in some other area, we may use CBDRM only for rural area, but in Vietnam, they use it for rural and also urban area. Okay, we move, thank you so much. And we move next to our speaker from Mahasaraka Municipality. So we hear Kun Santiนะคะคุณสันติ is a disaster prevention and relief officer. So he is going to talk about what happened in Mahasaraka municipality. Please, the floor is yours. Or Kun Santi will speak in Thai, and then Waritha will give a translation in English.
ครับก็สวัสดีนะครับทุกท่านที่เข้าร่วมกิจกรรมในวันนี้นะครับผมสันติระวังภัยนะครับนักป้องกันและบรรเทาสาธารณภัยเทศบาลเมืองมหาสารคามนะครับก็วันนี้ก็ได้มาพูดคุยนะครับการทบทวนเป็นเมืองริซิเลียนนะครับที่มีการส่วนร่วมของภาคประชาชนแล้วก็หน่วยงานราชการนะครับของเทศบาลเมืองสารคามของเราก็ได้เข้าไปมีส่วนร่วมนะครับสร้างการเป็นส่วนร่วมของประชาชนนะครับกับหน่วยงานราชการนะครับซึ่งในตัวนี้นะครับการที่เรานำมาในวันนี้ก็คือเราได้รับผลกระทบนะครับจากสาธารณภัยนะครับนั่นก็คือน้ำท่วมเมื่อปี 2565 นะครับซึ่งได้รับผลกระทบในหลายอำเภอนะครับของจังหวัดมหาสารคามของเรานะครับก็ได้ไม่ว่าจะเป็นอำเภอโกสุมนะครับอำเภอเมืองอำเภอกันทระนะครับแล้วก็อำเภอเชียงยืนนะครับที่ได้รับผลกระทบนะครับในการเกิดน้ำท่วมนะครับมีประชาชนหลายครัวเรือนนะครับที่ได้รับผลกระทบนะครับซึ่งในตัวนี้นะครับทางคณะผู้บริหารนะครับแล้วก็มหาวิทยาลัยมหาสารคามเห็นความสำคัญนะครับก็เข้าได้มามีส่วนร่วมนะครับซึ่งกันและกันนะครับเข้าไปศึกษานะครับโรงงานนะครับของคณะผู้บริหารอยู่ที่เกาหลีนะครับก็มาปรับนะครับให้เป็นเมืองยืดหยุ่นที่อำเภอเมืองนะครับเทศบาลเมืองมหาสารคามของเรา
So Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sandeep, Disaster Prevention and Mitigation Officer from Mahasarakam Town Municipality. I would like to highlight about the collaborations and review the stakeholder engagement and people, community engagement into our city resilience program. Since 2021, we faced with a heavy flood occur in 5 districts in Mahasarakam province. With that, with collaboration with the Mahasarakam University, together with all management of town municipality, we start the program on city resilience.
ครับในการพัฒนานะครับความรู้แล้วก็ความเข้าใจนะครับสำหรับเมืองมหาสารคามของเราก็ได้นำมาปรับใช้นะครับกับคณะผู้บริหารแล้วก็หัวหน้าส่วนราชการแล้วก็ภาคประชาชนนะครับซึ่งมหาวิทยาลัยมหาสารคามนะครับที่เข้าไปมีส่วนร่วมนะครับเข้าไปศึกษานะครับจากกิจกรรมในตัวนี้นะครับพี่น้องประชาชนนะครับในเขตพื้นที่ที่ได้รับผลกระทบภัยพิบัติต่างๆนั้นไม่มียังเรียกว่ายังว่าไม่สามารถที่จะปรับตัวได้นะครับก็ยังมองว่าภัยมันเป็นแค่มาแล้วก็ไปนะครับซึ่งในปัจจุบันนี้ในการเกิดวิกฤตต่างๆของสาธารณภัยนี้เริ่มความรุนแรงเพิ่มมากขึ้นนะครับก็เลยได้มาเข้าไปศึกษานะครับเข้าลงไปนะครับให้ความรู้กับพี่น้องประชาชนนะครับโดยทางมหาวิทยาลัยมหาสารคามนี้ก็เอามาปรับนะครับที่จะเข้าถึงนะครับกับพี่น้องประชาชนก็โดยการแต่งเป็นเพลงนะครับเป็นเพลงทางอีสานนะครับว่าเอาเข้ามาพูดเข้าไปให้ความรู้กับทางประชาชนนะครับซึ่งตัวนี้ก็เลยทำให้พี่น้องประชาชนนั้นสามารถที่จะเข้าถึงนะครับกับหน่วยงานเทศบาลเข้าถึงกับหน่วยงานที่ให้เพิ่มความเข้าใจเกี่ยวกับสาธารณภัยต่างๆนะครับโดยกิจกรรมเริ่มแรกนั่นก็คือการประชุมเชิงสัมมนานะครับให้กับพี่น้องประชาชนเพื่อที่จะเข้าใจนะครับถึงภัยพิบัติที่มันจะเกิดขึ้นเกิดสร้างความยืดหยุ่นให้กับเมืองของเรานะครับที่จะทำให้เป็นเมืองริซิเลียนต่างๆเท่านี้นะครับ
So with this initiative from the Mahasarakam University and the executive management from municipality, we start engage with the community at the community level. However, since we start the program, the community in the municipality not really pay attention to the disaster that happen in the area because they feel like the disasters come and go. So it's not really something that they need to give the priority. However, so with the support from Mahasarakam University, we start with the awareness raising activity. With that, we come up with the song, the local song, to get involved with the people to learn about the disaster and how the resilience is important for them. And moreover, our municipality, we got support from the academic at the university to conduct the consultative meeting and give knowledge awareness activity to the community throughout the stakeholder engagement. We work into the city resilience program. This is how we start.
ครับในส่วนนะครับสถานะในการนำมาประเมินนะครับเริ่มจากการประเมินของผู้บริหารนะครับที่ว่าเรามีความพร้อมมากแค่ไหนนะครับที่จะลงไปให้พี่น้องประชาชนนั้นได้เข้าถึงได้เข้าใจเกี่ยวกับภัยพิบัตินะครับก็ใน10 หัวข้อที่เราได้ดำเนินการนะครับเข้าไปนะครับประเมินว่าเราสามารถที่จะทำได้ไหมนะครับแล้วก็จะถ่ายทอดสู่ประชาชนได้มากน้อยแค่ไหนนะครับแล้วก็ได้มีการมาพูดคุยนะครับกับตัวแทนนะครับของชุมชนต่างๆนะครับโดยการสร้างความรู้นะครับเพื่อที่จะให้พี่น้องประชาชนนั้นรู้ถึงนะครับความรุนแรงนะครับที่เกิดขึ้นนะครับภัยที่เกิดขึ้นในปัจจุบันนี้นะครับต่างๆพวกนี้เราก็ได้นำมาใช้แล้วก็มีการเข้ามาเป็นส่วนร่วมของพี่น้องประชาชนนั่นก็คือสร้างเขาเป็นอาสาเคลื่อนที่เร็วนั่นก็คือการแจ้งเหตุนะครับมีเหตุมีภัยไม่ว่าจะเป็นภัยเกี่ยวกับอัคคีภัยอุทกภัยวาตภัยอะไรต่างๆนะครับให้ชุมชนนั้นเป็นกระบอกเสียงนะครับเริ่มที่จะให้กับทางหน่วยงานของเทศบาลนั้นออกไปช่วยเหลือพี่น้องประชาชนให้ได้รวดเร็วนะครับแล้วก็ลดผลกระทบให้ได้มากที่สุดนะครับอันนี้ก็คือสิ่งที่เราจะสามารถที่จะนำมาปรับใช้เกี่ยวกับสาธารณภัยได้นะครับโดยการเข้ามามีส่วนร่วมนะครับไม่ว่าจะเป็นภาครัฐนะครับก็ไม่ว่าจะเป็นของทางเทศบาลเมืองมหาวิทยาลัยนะครับทางการประปาการแล้วสำนักป้องกันและบรรเทาสาธารณภัยนะครับลงไปสู่นะครับหน่วยงานเอกชนนะครับพื้นที่ที่อยู่ในนะครับที่ของเรานะครับเรามีภาคีเครือข่ายนะครับกว่า30นะครับกว่า30เครือข่ายที่เราเข้ามานะครับรวมถึงทั้งมูลนิธินะครับต่างๆที่อยู่ในพื้นที่ จังหวัดมหาสารคามนะครับเข้ามาเพื่อที่จะลดนะครับความสูญเสียและลดความลดผลกระทบนะครับกับพี่น้องประชาชนให้ได้มากที่สุดครับ
Yes, so we start with the the assessment that you may seen from the previous PowerPoint that he mentioned about the 10 essential of MCR 2030, which is making city resilient that just present in this morning. So Mahasarakam also take this initiative into their assessment to know themselves in which area that they could be improved and what they have to prioritize. The second step that we Mahasarakam municipality engage with the community and also set up with the volunteer program. This volunteer group in the community mainly highlight on the early warning system. They will give the warning information to the municipality and the municipality be able to cope with those situations on time. And moreover, he highlight more on the stakeholder engagement that with more than 30 stakeholders, including government, city, public service, private sector, academia, and community. With this strong engagement, they start this program in terms of making city resilience in the municipality level.
เรานะครับได้มาสร้างนะครับในการเรียกว่าสร้างสถานการณ์นะครับการเป็นเมืองซีเรียนโดยการประเมินของผู้บริหารแล้วก็ผู้มีส่วนได้เสียนะครับซึ่งเริ่มแรกเลยนะครับการประเมินนั้นอยู่ที่เกณฑ์อยู่แค่ประมาณ50กว่านะครับก็พอเรามามีการสร้างความรู้นะครับร่วมกับชุมชนแล้วนะครับเราเพิ่มกับการเพิ่มขึ้นของในสิ่งที่พี่น้องประชาชนนั้นเข้าใจนะครับแล้วก็มันไปถึงกล่าวไปถึงเป็นสิ่งต่างๆนะครับที่เทศบาลเราทำให้นะครับว่าสิ่งที่เรานำไปสู่พี่น้องประชาชนเพื่อลดผลกระทบนะครับในเกี่ยวกับภัยพิบัติต่างๆพวกนี้เราทำได้มากน้อยแค่ไหนนะครับแล้วก็สร้างถึงนะครับทราบถึงการมีอุปสรรคปัญหานะครับอุปสรรคก็คือพี่น้องประชาชนยังไม่เข้าใจนะครับในส่วนของการจัดเป็นเมืองรีซิเลียนของเรานะครับก็คือพี่น้องยังไม่เข้าใจถึงบทบาทหน้าที่ของตนเองที่จะต้องดำเนินการนะครับแต่ว่าในปัจจุบันนี้นะครับพี่น้องเริ่มเข้าใจเริ่มมีส่วนร่วมนะครับก็ทำให้การบริหารจัดการเกี่ยวกับสาธารณภัยนั้นดีขึ้นนะครับแล้วก็สามารถที่จะเข้าไปนะครับให้ความรู้แล้วก็มีความยอมรับนะครับในสิ่งตัวนี้ได้มากขึ้นนะครับวันนี้
So the municipality start their assessment by using MCR 2030 scorecard. And the first time that they did, they got 50. Score is around 50. With that, they try to increase their resilience scorecard. The highlight of the scorecard that they found that the area of improvement that how to increase the awareness and knowledge of people at the community level. So with that, they come up with many initiatives to engage more and give knowledge to the people, to create a platform, to provide the training and also the information to the community.
ก็ในส่วนของเทศบาลเมืองมหาสารคามนะครับก็มีนะครับสิ่งที่นะครับที่ท้าทายที่พวกเราได้นำมาใช้แล้วก็ได้มาแชร์นะครับประสบการณ์ซึ่งกันและกันนะครับถ้าเหตุการณ์นะครับไม่มีได้รับผลกระทบมามันก็จะไม่สามารถที่จะเข้ามาสู่การเป็นเมืองรีซิเลียนของเราได้นะครับวันนี้ก็ขอบคุณนะครับที่ผู้เข้าร่วมในกิจกรรมในวันนี้นะครับก็ทางเทศบาลเมืองมหาสารคามนะครับก็ขอบคุณทุกท่านนะครับที่ให้โอกาสนะครับทางเมืองสารคามของเรานะครับได้มาพรีเซนต์นะครับในส่วนของการเป็นเมืองรีซิเลียนของเรานะครับขอบคุณครับ
I would like to thank for this opportunity to have us here as Mahasarakam Town Municipality to share about our program in terms of increasing city resilience in Mahasarakam. So thanks for the floor and yeah, so he will discuss later in the challenge. Over to you, Madam Chair, please.
Yeah. Thank you ค่ะขอบคุณมากค่ะ so we heard about the story of the role of community municipality to make use of the tool to bring in technical network and also work partner with university and community itself to ensure that everyone understand the same thing and moving to the same goal นะคะ Thank you so much ค่ะ So next we are going to hear the use of the toolkit from Dr. Bunanand Thanakul นะคะ Assistant Professor from the Faculty of Architecture and Planning, Thammasat University. He is going to talk about building community readiness and local preparedness through participatory resilient planning toolkit. So let's hear from Dr. Bunanand.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone again. I think I can connect the story from the first two speakers, because now we know that if you want to work with towards the urban resilience, we need a community resilience and also individual level resilience. So that how to build the community readiness and also local preparedness, we need some kind of communication and also easy tools, to engage with the people on the first day, and then if they know what to do next, so we can also help and also nurture them to meet their own requirement and their own goal. So we can see various solutions, to build the capacity for the cities and also for the urban citizens. But now we are moving narrow down towards, from the macro to meso and to the micro levels. So we all know that these need to be connected. And how? So start from the inner, circles that we want action from individual, but we know that for the low-income people, they are not live alone. So they have neighbors, they have their own communities, and they have limited resources. So that's why, by empower individual action, we need to understand how they work together, and then how to educate them all together and have the same and share goals, towards what they are going to be in the futures. So I want to briefly talk about two projects. That one is already complete, back in 2017. So in that project called Planning for Eco-Cities and Climate Resilient Environment, it's actually funded by Newton Fund from UK. And this project is actually derived, from the big flood, in 2011. So now we want to see how the residents in the case study communities cope with that situation, and how they can, bring back that experience and then also plan for the future risks. And the second one is just ongoing. It's about value of the nature. So people know that nature is good, but how we don't know the perception that how they actually value the nature by individual, by the community, and by the stakeholders, city stakeholders, including city planners and also authorities. So, I want to take you guys back to 2011 that we all see, the map on your right-hand side, and then you see that the blue area is also, covered by the flood, from the north down to the Thai Gulf. But the objective of this project, it's just not about research, but it's also having two components. One is the research that we want to collect some data, how the people cope with that situation, how they work together, how they work with external, agencies to help them to survive during this crisis. And the other end is to make the toolkits, because we want to empower them. Not only that, we also collect some data and complete our research, but also we want to leave something back to the community and then practice them over time to see that how possible the toolkits can be made possible for the future plan by the local people. So we looked at 3 case study communities strategically that over the BMR regions, the Bangkok metropolitan regions. We all know that in the middle of Bangkok is being kept, to be safe because it's a financial district, financial center. But in the western part, in Thonburi, in the north of Bangkok, is prone to flood. And back in 2011, is have severely affected by the floods. But if you can see the profile of these communities, they all join the Ban Man Khong program, which is a slum upgrading, participatory slum upgrading projects, where the local communities, they don't organize themselves and to secure the land and also to build the concrete house to have the better livelihoods. But since in that sense, the Ban Man Khong project is actually work as a platform where the people can work together because they are not having any experience about working together. So that's why we aim and focus on these three commodities. And for their own past experiences when dealing with the flood, so there's no plan. There was no plan by individual and by the collective adaptation at all. There is no plan to manage the local resources, which is very limited. And also they are mostly reliant on the external institutions waiting for help and support. And you can see on the news, on the television where, Channel 3 or some, militaries that give some, surviving bags and give help for the communities, but how they need to wait, by daily basis. They need to know how to utilize their resources and also what they have got, from outside communities. And also the local people, they don't want to move away, as the middle class like me and like many people in this room, we may have the second home, we may have some budget, to move away from our house when flooding. So then, but for them, they have no choice. They need to stay at home to protect their own properties. And also the financial plan, there is none of that. So this is a very quick, review of the research outcome, by talking to the people, doing some questionnaire and interviews. I intentionally want to make it small because I don't want everyone to read through it, but just want to highlight that almost none of the plan, to tackle with the flood, to tackle with the crisis, because they are not being prepared at all. But mostly it's the only individual action, or maybe the leading groups lead the way, how to cope with that collectively. But anyway, we come back to the idea that, by having the limited resources, but they do have resources, and those resources at the community level is collective. So why don't we think and then look at the community resources and capital as to plan for inclusiveness and resilience? And this is just, to make the community more resilient. But how to manage the community resources? So we need to understand that how those community members perceive their own capital, their own resources. So that's why we came up with the development of the planning toolkits that want to play some games with the local members and then see what they perceive as the local resources. What kind of resources are very important? And even during the crisis, why those resources are important and need to be protected. Otherwise, if you lose that, resources, it's going to be hard, for them to survive. So this is some series of photos that are taken from the development of the toolkits that we apply the card game, we apply the map, we see the colorful, a cardboard to see that how we can easily engage. And we are not aiming for the leading group, but also the children, the women, and also across the age group in the community, because we all know that they have their own agenda. They want to protect, they want to prevent the flood with their property and also with their own, interests. So that's why this toolkit was designed to be able to be very flexible in terms of how what the profile of the participant in each gaming process. It really depends on what agenda that they want to focus on. And for the development process, we actually work in partner with the local with the community architects who actually design the toolkits. As I'm not a planner, I'm the architect by training. So we think that, how to digest all the information, all the big keywords, and also what can be perceived as the resources need to be from the local, and how to make them speak out, how to make them understand where are they, is also need some kind of tools, to actually, dig down what they really understand about their own properties and resources. So we found out from our research on ground that there are almost 10, kinds of resources that has been identified at the local level, starting from food, water, and build form is part of that, and to the collective resources, networking, and also public amenity around them. So this is also how they actually help, themselves to go through their hardship during the flood. And for the planning toolkits and resilient toolkits, we need to divide it into the smaller part. So we end up with the three modules. One is to get started with the learning with the new key terms, because the people on the ground at the local level, maybe they don't know about the term sustainability. They don't know about the term resilience. They do know about food, trees, and also maybe buildings, roads, and gardens. So that's why we need to actually, get the same level and have the common understanding towards the big term. And then we go to the module 2, which is more practical, that we work on the map, and also we co-create the adaptation plan later. So this is how they learn about the key term and concept. And this also to map, they need to identify the local resources first, and then they see where are they at the local level, because even though they've been living at the community for, maybe the rest of their life, but they don't really understand where it is, where each of the resources are. And at the end of the module 3, we think that we actually random, the crisis, and put in the center that maybe flooding, maybe financial crisis, maybe energy crisis, and see what are the effects, from that crisis, and give a negative impact on the resources that are really important for them. And then what kinds of resources actually help, to mitigate the negative impact. So then they would know and understand that what kind of resources are really, needed, during the crisis time. So this is part of the reflection and responses from the local residents, that the tool is pretty easy to follow, and it's break into 3 modules, which is, you can do one by one, or you can do the whole of the module at the same time. So it depends on the context, depend on what they want to know. And also, they actually foresee the futures, because after the 2011 flood, so they see that, oh, maybe it's not happening again. But actually the crisis is not by the climate, but it's sometimes, by, PM 2.5 and some other crises that hit the urban area. So that's why they are aware of also, maybe there are different kinds of crises that can happen. And also the meeting is very, very participative and also practical, because they can end up with some plan, even though it's maybe very, beginning, but at least, they have something, to talk over and over again in the futures. And the last, the second one is, I will talk very brief, which is about the value of nature. We all know about nature is important, not only in rural, but urban. But what are urban nature are perceived by the resident is the key things. So we need to understand first that how they think, how they see about the trees, they plant, the plot, and the garden they have. So then we actually use also the tools, to utilize understanding, and also think about how to manage those, resources, which is the green and also the nature within the community context. So this is also across the cities, across Bangkok, to look at 3 communities. And we ask what are urban nature are perceived by them, and what they use as a nature-based solution. We understand that, the nature-based solution is the key, is the emerging terms that we want to apply for, but we don't really know that how the local people can understand this, and how they think tree is not just beautification of their houses, but also some solution that can be given by nature and is given for free. And then the mapping urban nature is also part of the process that we are working, and is still ongoing, because at the end of the projects, we want to see that what species of the urban trees of the nature in each context, in each communities can be used, and then how to measure that. We work with the Nanyang Technological University from Singapore. They have the monitoring programs and also the tools that to measure what kinds of heat, can be reduced by having shade and by having the big trees, and what kind of food that can actually help them in terms of, the food on the everyday life, and maybe reduce cost of living. And this is the part of the outcome that we collect, on the ground, that the trees and nature can help, reducing so many things that affect them. So this is some papers that our research team have written, and then it thinks that this kind of community engagement tool can be replicated, and also hopefully that, as I see the case in Mahasarakam, they might apply these to tools, to work with the communities and see what is the outcome in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is very interesting toolkit. We see that from research, you'll be able to develop toolkit that build community resilient, and not only community, but individual resilient to disaster and risk, and also climate change. Actually, the second tool is very much interesting. I would like the กรมโลกร้อน Department of Climate Change and Environment to look into the second tool, because it could be used for another project that we are using, that we are doing. Okay, because nature-based solution is really important, and local government are trying to respond to this green environment, and they still do not have many tools to use. So maybe it could be one of the introductory tool for them. Okay, so next we hear from another perspective of gender, gender inclusion. Let's talk about gender inclusion in community-based disaster. Oh no, urban disaster community. Okay, เชิญค่ะเป้
Yes, thank you very much for Dr. Parichat. And also I would like to highlight a little bit deep down into program level. When we're talking about the community, we can't really avoid that to talk about the social. With this, like we have many perspectives that to consider. As Dr. Bunanan also mentioned, like we have to hear from them and we have to understand. As I would like to highlight here that this gender inclusion part that I would like to present today, mainly from the case study of the urban resilience program that we implement in Vietnam. And I would like to thanks to VDDMA as the key partner in implement this project. We use the CBDM program, national program of VDMA to align and also modify in terms of implementation on ground. I would like to deep down into a little bit into how we start with the gender consideration in terms of inclusion in implementation. So with this photo, I think like the representative from Nam Dinh City may familiar with some face here. So the lady stand up and say something. But when we talk about gender, I would like to highlight that it's not only about women. When we talk about gender, we talk about diversity of men, women, and others. With this, I would like to emphasize to everyone here in the room, when we discuss about the strategy in the next sessions, please consider gender as all, and please consider the community as everyone. So with this, from the program, how we start the gender inclusion part in terms of implementation. So this one is very broad when we talk about understanding the needs. Everyone talk about it. Everyone say the same thing. We need to understand what the need and how to fill the gap. The challenge is into how you implement it. With this, we also do the same thing with other projects. And also I believe that from the research perspective as well, we start with gender analysis. The gender analysis is different with capacity need assessment. When you talk about gender analysis, you deep down into many elements of it. For example, we consider about the law and policy that related with the disaster and climate, and also other policy and the law implementation in terms of gender and women and men, and also inclusion. So with this, we have to consider in many perspectives. Down into the policy level, implementation law, you have to understand more thing is like, when we talk about disaster risk management, we have to consider how to make decision. The decision making from whom? With this, we have to understand this as well. So as I mentioned that in terms of gender analysis, you need time to do it and to allow to understand what the need to fill the gap. Then the next one, we would like to understand in the local level, in the city level that we work in Vietnam, we also do capacity need assessment. With this, not only training costs, what training costs you need, but what type of capacity that need to be increased. So we have to understand the training cost and capacity. It not only one term. So with this, like, for example, the capacity of equipment, I would say like something that very broad that everyone understand, or capacity of the institution, capacity of the people. And within that, we decide the training. So from the gender analysis to two different levels with this, in terms of identify action and process. With this, we have to understand like from the program that already have the objective and also the goal with that, how to modify and also make sure that we align with the need of the gender inclusion. So for example, many times we heard about gender training and we just train about gender or not. The program that we design in this training course in this URCE program to give the training to the city officials. So with that, we talk about overall of disaster risk management, urban resilience, and gender part of it. And after that, the gender in between of everything that we discussed to design of the planning process. The planning have to come up with the understanding of the need of different group of people. For example, when we talk about disaster management, many times we said like women, elderly, and also children. But what about men? Have you asked yourself whether are you ready to help and respond? So with this training course, we also highlight, emphasize of the need of different group of people. The training course designed based on this analysis. Additionally, in terms of understand risk, as presented this morning from URCE program, that we also conduct the risk assessment. The risk assessment that ADPC under URCE program, we also consider of the different group of people. Moreover of that, when we implement CBDIM, how that risk information understand by different people, that's also another step that I would like to emphasize more in the next sessions. With this, what intervention that URC program had made from this one? For example, as I mentioned, the risk assessments also include the gender and diversity data to analyze and understand the need of people of different needs. From this is just the sample of the work that we done. And also deep down into the community level. When we talk about the community resilience, not only the community, but we have to make sure that the policy and also implementation is linkage in different level. As I mentioned, that we work with VDDMA to ensure that the CBDM process and also the training costs align with the national program that Mr. Ming also highlight in his talk with that. And also the city officials who will carry forward this knowledge and also implement with the community in the future, got the training about CBDM. Not only training, but how to roll out in the community level. So the program designed by getting the pilot community in that city. With that, the city official also train the pilot community to know about CBDM process. So we will see like there are different angles, policy level, and also enhance of the capacity linkage in different level. So the community also need to action and also plan, identify that need, and also proceed with the risk assessment by different group of people to attend the activity. I would like to highlight, even though we have the analysis and we try to cope with those needs, that we need to emphasize the gender, the equality and fair. The training course that we provide in the city, you may see this information. The participation of men and women in the training course very high for in terms of female and male, quite almost 50-50 and 67-30. Come down to local when we process the discussion. This is still challenge, and I would like to give back to the floor to discuss after this. When we roll out the activity, how we going to increase this with the many perspective that we work in the community. Many times we talk about number of participation. However, I would like to highlight here that not only number, but how to ensure their participation and their voice is there. So with this, like we try to engage and work with the community more and more to get more participation and hear back and forth information about, for example, to develop the community map for this one. I asked some participant here, some women participant. I mean, I asked both, but I asked them whether you understand this information or not. If the person who work in GIS feel very familiar with this type of map. But when I asked to the community, they respond to me, they said like, why I won't understand it? Because I'm the one who put everything there. So this, the power of the word from the people, from the community, either men or women. So I would like to highlight that piece. When we talk about gender, we talk about how to make sure that people understand and ensure that their voice is there and put in the information and process. With this, like the program that we work, as I mentioned, that we start with analysis, but we still have some challenge in terms of like to ensure more participation and also the voice of women and men to be part of this. And we have a many round of discussion in terms of development CBDM activity in the city, and also everyone engaged and also try to give their input into this process. And a little bit back to the gender, the training course that I highlight earlier, that we put the gender part of the training, not only gender, but also part of the training course. And also, for example, nutrition emergency also highlight how the gender element is there and also very important. And this is another activity that we have, the sectoral preparedness. And this is some lesson, not only from the URC program, but also from other urban CBDM activity that we implement. I would like to emphasize that we have to ensure that we have the platform. I use this word because like we think like if we have a chance to say, we would like to say. With that, like we have to allow with the design the activity that allow people to share and also able to participate in the activity and decision making. So this is some high project case study from our program URCE, and I would like to thank again to VDMA, so the key partner to implement this activity in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Kape. We see that even though we have gender analysis, we have done everything, but when it's come to the action, the real action, we still have gaps and we still need to explore more why there are less women participants in the disaster training or in CBDRM planning. What is there for them not being able to come to participate? That is a sensitive issue too. So more to work on, and you will also have to do a lot of gender analysis and things in detail. Okay,ค่ะ. Next, we would like to hear from Luang Prabang. And the story is very exciting and is something that is very challenging and it's really take personal commitment and big heart to be able to do it. So let's hear,ค่ะ.
Thank you, Dr. Parishas. Thank you so much for ADPC to invite me to speak. Pornpraset Somsaks, architect, artist, and cultural heritage practitioner from Luang Prabang, Laos PDR. And today I will present what I practice with the community with culture and climate collaboration case study of Luang Prabang and Champasak province, Lao PDR. Yes, what I'm doing, I start with the OUV of Luang Prabang and Wat Phut Champasak. As well known, both sides of Luang Prabang and Champasak is a World Heritage Site. And Luang Prabang as well recognized as it the heritage site, and Wat Phut Champasak is the designated as the landscape site. So both sides are renowned and globally and encompass risk of nature and culture elements addressed in outstanding universal value or OUV. Today, cannot to compel the people in the world to protect our cultural heritage. That's I realized that I should start to do something. This is in 2001. This is after I have a chance to study in culture in cultural heritage management in Thailand, and this is my study our cultural landscape of Luang Prabang, and what I found at the results, I found this is the town is like the humans. They have the body, they have a soul, and also they have the how to say it? They have sorry about that. And it's a form of the human body integrates with the in the town of Luang Prabang. And another hand, that I found this is illustrate the relations between culture and nature. So, and after I completing my research in this in the university, I continue to study more and collective information to the landscape. This is my sketch and drawing to collective for more information, deeply both intangible cultural heritage on real mapping in Luang Prabang. So, and right now, Luang Prabang is changing a lot the cultural landscape. So, during I study in university, and I have a chance to making our initiative project collaborate with the Mekong Culture Hub and also with the local community, and they keep helping each other. And North Pao Group is the group for the preservation and transmission cultural heritage in Luang Prabang. And I start this project because right now Luang Prabang is almost growing so fast and will be lost evidence and our cultural heritage. And the projects I start with would like to propose the cultural diversity of the Mekong. So, and I start with the traditional art and traditional festival in Luang Prabang, they call End of the Buddhism Rain Day. And actually they don't have a fish, and I collaborate with the local community to make a fish and to show diversity. And another thing is awareness to local community to population of the Mekong fish increase right now. So, and this is another project I collaborate with an initiative with the community in Vientiane to do the project from local community such as a coffee shop and curator, and in Vientiane to talking about the perspective of the grassroots in over there. However, what I learned from the to the landscape and practice is help me to qualify understanding culture and nature value to the landscape, and to convince me the pain point of the culture and nature decline in diversity. Yes, this is for my professional part. I start with the social practice to the art forward to the culture climate collaboration in 2000. My whole experience in 15 years, where I going to skate drawing the whole the countries of Laos. I start with the rhythm of the city in Vientiane to return relationship between human and nature, as well as the return relationship between human and humans. So I started with in Vientiane, and that's as you saw. I use the art and induce participation of the local community, and as to everywhere the place I go to exhibition. Right now, I'm done in exhibition in Vientiane called Rhythm of the City Laos and Rhythm of the City Tha Kek, and I just finished on Rhythm of the City Champasak on January 2024. This is our piece. We like it, and I create the activity to connect, to join with the local community. That's I call the participatory performing art, talking about culture and nature. So I have very short clip to show you what I'm done in Champasak. No sound.
จันทราน้อยจันทราเสียอะไรข่วยลืมหน้าเสียอะไรป้าลืมน้องสมนักต้องมาลืมแจ้
You can skip to the last part.
ความหมายความสำคัญ
ตั้งแก้มออกให้จำไว้ทุกคนใครได้ผ่านคนเน่าอยู่และเป็นสุขอย่าสู้ลืมความถูกพ่อแม่เฮาพาเลี้ยงเอาสาทานฟังเสียงสายตาลอย่ารำคาญนางสิขอจากเจ้าปีหน้าจังคอยฟังก่อนบาดทายหากสิหวยพ้นใจให้สุขกายสบายใจโลกไปอย่าพันต้องจองแก้มเจ้าห้องจองเดียวมองใส่ห้องคิดโนดน้องไว้ในหลายเดือน
Thank you so much. And that's many children and students participate in this activity, and and they are people choice. They are very like it, and we have a commitment together to preserve both culture and nature. So today we cannot choose to preserve just only nature and only nature or cultures. We must to preserve both culture and nature simultaneously, and we the choice we have is to to return relationship between human and nature, as well as the relationship between human and human. So this is what I use. The whole project is what I doing that you see. I start with no financial fundings at all. I start with this myself and collaborate with the local community. I think this is a part of my lifelong learning and my responsibility of on our nature and culture. And thank you so much. I have done. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you คุณพรประเสริฐนะคะ from หลวงพระบาง I think this is also another window for community resilience because we can also preserve the nature that we are having today so that it will not be damaged by the climate change or natural disaster or any risks in the future. And it's also give the young generation the value of nature conservation นะคะ So thank you very much. Now we still have time, right? We're gonna have some few questions for every one of you. So first of all, may I start with Mr. Dan Kwon Min, and your question is how Vietnam government roll out CBDRM from provincial to local level. Yeah, that's the question. Maybe you can give explain a little bit how the government has done. You talk about having the policy, revise the policy, and having manual for community. You talk about training for community and local government. But there must be something that is a challenge
Yeah,
when
thank
you
you.
first roll it out.
For the government program, in itself, that program, they exercise and empower the responsibility of the each ministry, alliance, and provincial already. Besides, the focal point ministry also on behalf of the government also send out some guidelines to do that. The guideline about how about the CBDM plan, and we require the provincial to complete the plan and allocate budget, and of course to provincial to commune level. That is the how the government issue. And another way we provide the orientation support, not orientation support, like materials and the TUT training for provincial. Yeah, TUT training for provincial, and allow and guide them how to use the local budget fund for the CBDM. Yes, of course. Another thing, we encourage them to building the partnership with NGO and relevant stakeholder within the among the locality. And of course, we also orient and guide and request provincial to connect with the mass media to deliver some specific communication activity in order to transfer the knowledge and information, whatever, to your community, whatever needed to your community. Yes, that we are doing that generally.
And it still keep going, right?
Yes.
It's never end.
That is never end because we are facing
Yeah, new
with
risks.
disaster forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we face new risks all the time, so it's
Yes.
a evolving process. Thank you.
Yeah.
So next, may I ask คุณสันติค่ะ when the Mahasarakaram municipality start this program, what is the challenge in community participation คือตอนที่เราเริ่มต้นทำงานเนี้ยค่ะทำโครงการเนี้ยค่ะ ความท้าทายของเราเนี่ยมีอะไรบ้างแล้วเราเอาชนะความท้าทายตรงนั้นได้ยังไง
ครับก็ขอบคุณนะครับที่ทางเริ่มต้นนะครับกิจกรรมในตัวนี้ที่ได้ดำเนินการนะครับ เพราะว่าเราได้รับผลกระทบมาโดยตรงนะครับกับทางพี่น้องประชาชนในเขตเทศบาลเมืองมหาสารคามของเรานะครับ ก็เห็นนะครับความทุกข์ร้อนของพี่น้องประชาชนก็ได้เริ่มทำนะครับ เพราะว่าภัยต่างๆนะครับ เริ่มความรุนแรงเพิ่มมากขึ้นนะครับ ไม่ว่าจะเป็นภัยที่เกี่ยวกับน้ำกับลมนะครับกับอัคคีภัยอะไรต่างๆพวกนี้เราก็ได้เข้ามานะครับเข้าลงเริ่มแรกเลยนะครับลงไปสู่กับพี่น้องประชาชนนั้นได้ทำแผนนะครับเข้าไปทำแผนชุมชนนะครับแผนชุมชน แต่พี่น้องไม่เข้าใจนะครับว่าเราทำไปเพื่ออะไรนะครับอย่างทำอย่างไรก็ได้เดี๋ยวก็ภาครัฐมาช่วยอะไรต่างๆพวกนี้นะครับเข้าไปนะครับก็เลยมีความท้าทายก็เข้าไปพูดคุยนะครับพูดคุยทำโครงการต่างๆลงไปนะครับพี่น้องประชาชนเขาก็รับแต่ก็ไม่ตอบสนองต่างๆพวกนี้ก็เลยได้มีการพูดคุยกับทางคณะผู้บริหารนะครับแล้วก็ทางมหาวิทยาลัยนะครับก็เข้าไปเพื่อสร้างจิตสำนึกสร้างความตระหนักนะครับให้กับพี่น้องประชาชนว่าเราจะทำอย่างไรเราจะรับมือมันอย่างไรเมื่อมันเกิดเหตุขึ้นมาแล้ว เราจะสามารถรองรับหรือว่าสามารถที่จะเอาชนะมันได้หรือเปล่าอะไรต่างๆพวกนี้นะครับก็เลยทำให้ทางทีมงานนะครับไม่ว่าจะเป็นทั้งคณะผู้บริหารนะครับทั้งหัวหน้าส่วนราชการต่างๆ แล้วก็ทีมผู้ปฏิบัตินะครับเขาเข้าไปดำเนินการนะครับปลูกจิตสำนึกนะครับให้กับพี่น้องประชาชนนะครับว่าภัยถ้ามันมาแล้วเราจะรับมือมันอย่างไร เราจะทำอย่างไรเพื่อที่จะให้รอดพ้นแล้วก็ไม่ให้มันเกิดขึ้น แล้วก็เกิดความสูญเสียสำหรับเรานะครับอันนี้ก็คือสิ่งที่เราเข้ามาเริ่มแรกเข้าไปนี้ประชาชนไม่รับเลยนะครับไม่รับเลยแต่เราก็สร้างก็เหมือนกับที่พูดไปในตอน PowerPoint นะครับที่พูดไปเริ่มแรกว่าคือเราเอาดนตรีนะครับเข้าไปนะครับมีส่วนร่วมนะครับแต่งเป็นเพลงทางอีสานเข้ามามีเป็นกล่าวถึงภัยต่างๆการรับภัยต่างๆพวกนี้นะครับโดยทางคณะอาจารย์จากมหาวิทยาลัยมหาสารคามนะครับที่เข้ามาทำให้พี่น้องนั้นเริ่มเข้ามาพูดคุยมีโครงการเข้าไปนะครับไม่ว่าจะเป็นชุมชนเข้มแข็งจะพร้อมป้องกันภัยนะครับหรือว่าอาสาสมัครเข้าไปตัวนี้นะครับเลยทำให้สร้างนะครับให้กับพี่น้องประชาชนนั้นสามารถที่จะเอาตัวรอดนะครับเอาสร้างความเข้าใจนะครับเอาตัวรอดจากการเกิดภัยต่างๆได้นะครับนี่ก็คือสิ่งที่เป็นสิ่งที่ทำให้พวกเรานั้นสู้มานะครับเป็นเมืองยืดหยุ่นของเรานะครับผม
You want to touch?
So the municipality has faced the challenge in when they start the program as well. So because of the increasing of the hydrometeorological hazard in the city and also in the area, brought the attention to the people. However, when they start the program to increase the knowledge and capacity at the community level, they still face the challenge in terms of the getting interest and also get buy-in from the community. With that, they try to engage with the stakeholder by using as the earlier presentation, the local song to engage and also get more understanding to the people. Moreover, to get the understanding and also get buy-in of the people, they need to do more of the capacity building activity at the community. And with the support with the from the municipality and also the university that they're able to start the civilian process and also some volunteer program. So this is the challenge that difficult to get a buy-in, but with the adaptation to using the local context, then we're able to get more attention from the community.
Thank you. So that is also another example of trying to use whatever get the attention of people to get them interested in the project. Thank you. So next, Ka Ajahn, is the same question. When you start your project in Bangkok metropolitan region, what did you do to overcome the challenge about community participation?
As I mentioned that the community they have experience working together through the Babankong project, but the thing is that most of the research actually been done and without giving anything, back to the community, or they don't realize that how the data collected through the process could be useful for them in the futures. So then the thing that we think we could get interest and attention from that is just to present the beautiful, colorful board card, and play with the children at the first time. So then we get interest by thinking that this is a kind of serious game. It's not just about game playing and then you go home, but it's actually the way to collect the data, because each of the process during the toolkit is actually the data collection techniques also, to actually map something on, onto the map and then see the connectivities and also relationships among different kinds of resources. So then even, the local knowledge is quite fragmented at the beginning. Even though they know the wisdom, the old people, age gap, and different diverse interests is actually the first, things that hinder our, collectivities and also the consolidate the local wisdom. So that's why once they get to know each other by playing the games, by doing the toolkits, and then they get to know, all right, maybe they miss out something, they might forget something that already been, in at the local, in the community. So I think that this is a kind of trial and error, and see that once we get the engagement from particular people, and then they can be expand because it's easy to digest and easy to join. That is the first step that I have realized.
So yeah, but developing such a game, the toolkit, it will takes time, and you also have research to back up. Otherwise, it will not be this effective, I believe. Okay. Pekha Varita, same question. When you start the gender project in Vietnam, you also face challenges, and you also already mentioned that we do not have the equal number, but maybe number may not be something that we could consider. We also need to also consider the quality of participation. So do you have any story or any thing to share with us how you overcome the challenge about gender analysis and gender inclusion in your project?
Yes, so as I mentioned that at the beginning, that we have the gender analysis to understand and also to be able to design the activity on ground. With that, even though as you mentioned, Dr. Parishat, not the quality of the participation and also the gender sensitivity in terms of discussion, the training course that we design, the program design that, as I mentioned and highlight, it's not only talking about women, but we talk about gender, and the participant in that training course also part of the training of trainer in CBDM. With that awareness and also the information and knowledge that we had been discussed about the sensitivity of the gender inclusion throughout the process, that we use this knowledge and awareness information to this discussion. In terms of, for example, roll out training in the community. So the same person who got the training will carry the key message. I use the word of the key message of the gender inclusion here. Either you are man or woman, you talk the same thing. And we're going to highlight the same thing with the same goal, that we would like to bring up more the community. For example, if we would like to include the accessibility in the map and ensure that people understand, then the trainer have the same information and understanding as the national program of VDMA also highlight inclusion, as you mentioned. And also with that, the trainer who provide the training to the community have the same message and key understanding. So this throughout I think the process that we try and work together, it highlighted and also emphasize of the importance of the participation of different people, and also how this information go toward to the community level, to household level in the future. So with the key message that we need to highlight, the importance of everyone in the community is the main of the CBDIM. So this all that how we overcome of the challenge, even though like number is number, but the key message is the main thing that we have to carry forward, whether you men or women. Yeah.
Yeah, and next, Kun Pornpraset, because you are presenting the soft side of climate resilience, what is the challenge that you are facing when you do your project and have a lot of volunteer working with you?
First thing on my challenging is financial funding, and actually this is as well, you know, grow up and living in the heritage sites of Luang Prabang, and when I'm doing the startup projects, it's very hard to find some funding. But however, the project is going slowly, and after that I don't wait to the financial funding. I just I start myself, and after that, when I start myself, and the local community see what I am doing, and after that they come by automatically, and because I saw them to show them to see this is your heritage, and not just only me to protect it, and this is also yours. And the first thing, and what I challenging, and the one thing is I think it's important to people very proud their cultural heritage, but no people to take action to responsibility themselves, and I think this is not resilient at all. So very hard when I talking with them. Yeah.
Actually, it's everyone's responsibility, to be aware of the climate action and whatever they can do to build the resilience of their own community. That's what I think.
Yes, I think so, and I respect them. Yeah.
And they also have a high sense of ownership because they are living in a heritage city, right?
Yes.
They are all people of the city. Okay, thank you so much. Since we do not have it, am I running out of time? Or you can give me another 10 minutes. So we skip the second question, and then I'm gonna ask every one of you to give the audience the takeaway, take-home message. What you think that they can take home with whatever you want to deliver. What is the final conclusion, the final word? We have a representative from the government, we have representative from municipality, we have academic sector, we have practitioner, the hardcore CBDRM, and also the soft side CBDRM. So what would be the takeaway message that you would like to give to the audience?
I just want to talk about from the corner of the government the side, that I think that everything include on DRR, including CBDIMs, the government and the local authority play very important role, including to roll out, to facilitate, and to guidance the relevant stakeholder and get involved of the peoples and community to involve in the DRI and climate change adaptation. Thank you.
ครับในสิ่งที่เรานำคิดนะครับเอานำไปทำปฏิบัตินะครับ เป็นสิ่งที่เป็นกลยุทธ์นะครับ ก็คือไม่มีอะไรมากนะครับ ก็คือเข้าใจเข้าถึงแล้วลงมือทำนะครับ ก็ถือว่าสร้างความสำเร็จให้กับอ่าเมืองยืดหยุ่นของเรานะครับผม
โอเคเข้าใจเข้าถึงลงมือทำเข้าถึง access ใช่ไหม So he said like the key message that he would like to give to everyone this today as part of the city resilience that he in his view he said like there are three terms only. The first one, understanding, accessibility, and yes, and action. So understanding, accessibility, and action. So three keywords that he would like to emphasize here.
As we all know that we live in the city, not only particular sectors. So that's why we normally ask for collaboration. We normally ask for contribution. But first of all, if we understand the local, if we balance between the needs and demand from different sectors. And as you can see that from the academic point of view, we are standing in the very privileged standing point where we are not government who have the KPI to work on with the central government or local government asked for to do that. And for the local communities, they have to maintain their livelihood and they don't see future much. So that's why the role of academic is to connect and make the linkage among these parties. And because we have the knowledge to foresee the future possibilities that they might face, they may have difficulty to see collectively, not individually, but if we can have somehow some kind of techniques that can take them out of their everyday basis and look at the possible risks in the safe space. So then they can play with things. They can play with what action they could do, what kind of partners they could make off. And then this is the thing that to make them aware, not only about, to make them plan by forcing them to think about future, but actually the plan that they made themselves. And then maybe at the end, it could be incorporated with the local plan from the authority, and those plans will be more comprehensive and doable in the future.
Thank you.
Yes, so I would like to highlight, as I mentioned, that it's really important to connect with all levels of the plan and also to understand from the local. So both two ways of communication is really important, that we need to create a connectivity among stakeholders in either in which level that you are, work with the local, hear from their voice, and make sure that the knowledge that we would like to send to in the future is understand and usable. With this, I would like to highlight that bring it all stakeholder collaborations, resource sharing, knowledge sharing is very important of two-way communications.
Yes, for me, it's volunteering. I think this is when you start to do some things, you need do something by your heart, your discipline, your and your like, and I think this is very kindness of the people to being able out is a human. So, and yes, thank you.
Thank you, Ka. I think that if we put 5 of you together in the room and make a project, it will be a good and comprehensive local preparedness project. Okay, so that's all for this session, and apologize for 10 minutes นะคะ 10 minutes more of the time, and return the floor to you, Ka. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Parishas and all the panelists. Please give us a big round of applause for the panelists. Thank you so much. So therefore, I would like to invite Dr. Senaka Basnayake to give the appreciation souvenir from ADPC to the moderator and the panelists. Hey, thank you so much,ค่ะ. So before we gonna have a coffee break, I would like to announce that after these sessions, we have to rearrange the desk for our welcome reception. So please make sure that you bring your belongings with you also, so you will not lose anything that you put on your table. With that, we will get back to the rooms at 3:30 ค่ะ so thank you very much enjoy your coffee
Thank
Please welcome back from the coffee break.
Okay, that's my page, okay?
Yeah, don't worry.
Under the diary. Okay.
I will not take yours. The next sessions will be very interesting, so please come back from the coffee break and then we can start the next sessions accordingly. The table has been moved and rearranged a bit, so now you can have more chance to sit with the new faces. I hope you enjoy coffee break of today and have some chance to discuss and share the connections with the other participants. Please take a seat anywhere. น้องๆหาที่นั่งเลยค่ะ Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Okay. Okay, I think all of us are here now. So welcome back to the last session of today. So get ready to be inspired. We are honored to have Professor Bharat Dahiya and Dr. Naeem Laney from Thammasat University as our moderator on Urban Resilience Framework for Asia. The floor is your professor.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sawadee Khap. Good afternoon to all of you. My name is Bharat Dahiya. I teach at Thammasat University School of Global Studies. Today, I have the job of moderating this session. This will be a very interactive session. So first of all, I would like, yeah, thank you very much. And do I have the device to? So we are starting now, right? And we have 2 hours. So we are starting at 3:42 p.m. and we will continue up to 5:42 p.m., right? So according to the, I guess you have some details in the program, but I'm going to share with you a small PowerPoint so that we have some orientation on what we are supposed to do. So today, our session is called Urban Resilience Framework for Asia, Framework for Implementation and Collaboration. And the question that we have to deal with is, what will be our next move in strengthening urban resilience to climate emergency in Asia? So I have divided my presentation in 3 parts. First is introduction to the session. Second is importance of strengthening urban resilience to climate emergencies in Asia. And lastly, use of systems thinking, which we have been hearing since morning, approach in building urban resilience. Okay. So let's look at what's the introduction. So we have 2 objectives today in this session. First is to present the draft of Urban Resilience Framework for Asia, which our colleague Dr. Seneka will do after me. And secondly, through the group discussions, 3 group discussions, we are going to identify the gaps, needs, and priority areas, okay, in strengthening urban resilience to climate emergencies with reference to the 7 key domains of ADPC's Urban Resilience Framework for Asia, okay, which Dr. Seneka will be presenting to you. So with this, let me show you how we are going to work, okay? So you can take picture of this. Right now, I am in part 1. I'm sharing this presentation with you. Second, Dr. Seneka will present the draft Urban Resilience Framework. Third, we will have 3 group discussions. Okay, first will be on risk-informed urban governance. Second, on urban community readiness and preparedness. And lastly, on urban nature-based solutions. For each of those groups, we will have 2 facilitators. Okay. Can we have the facilitators from the risk-informed urban governance stand up, please? So we have Dr. Naeem. Okay. He will be working with you. And the way we will work is that through your discussion, whatever things you find out, you type it into a PowerPoint, and then you will present that PowerPoint in section 4. Okay, so second group will have Dr. Parijat and Ms. Varita. So Ms. Varita is there. And lastly, for urban nature-based solutions, we have Mr. Pakasem and Mr. Chintaga. So they have 2. Okay, requires a lot of focus. Then after your 40-minute discussion, your representatives will come to this microphone, put the PowerPoint on, and share the findings from your group. Okay, so you will have about 10 minutes to present and 5 minutes for question answer or anybody from your group who wants to add something. Okay, so that's the part 4. And lastly, we will summarize the main key points, which of course you would have mentioned just before, and then we will close the session. Okay, is that clear? I hope it is. Okay, so now with that out of my way, let's look at the importance of strengthening urban resilience. Actually, since morning we have been hearing this. I don't think we need to hear more about the importance of building urban resilience. But let me just run you through a few quick slides. We know that urbanization is happening, and we heard that it is not going to stop. So this is a chart from UN, which shows urbanization from 1950 to 2050, and you don't see any of those lines dropping. So that is how it will seems to be continuing. We also heard that the urbanization level will increase to such and such level, but in real terms, from now until 2050, 1.2 billion people will be added to cities in Asia. That is about 34 million per year. That is 34 metropolitan cities per year to all Asia, okay? I guess you have also seen this chart, okay? What we are aiming at is the sustainability scenario, the lowest scenario in this chart, which is about 1.5 degrees, and that's the target at least, and we need a lot of political will. I don't know if you have seen this chart. This is also from the latest climate change report, and this shows the added rainfall precipitation which is caused by climate change. So you can see whole South Asia, Southeast Asia are the areas where there is additional rainfall happening. I guess if you are familiar with the Global Assessment Report, which gives a 50 to 60-year data on disasters. So these are the number of events that have been happening. And so they are kind of about to cross 500 per year. And this is the amount of loss in $1 billion. So now we are reaching about $200 billion of loss per year. And if we do not invest, this is going to grow. So that's why we have to prevent the future damage and losses. There is also, we have the community group, and things happen when you have the intersection between the resilience problems, the underserviced settlements where infrastructure and services are not there, and then you have poverty. So when these three things intersect, you have more complicated problems, and some of the presentations just in the session before underlined these things. It is not that we are only finding out today. Actually, in my previous incarnation, I used to be UN Habitat Settlements Officer when we prepared the first Asian Cities report. And this is a news from Reuters from June 2011. We were talking about Asia unprepared for climate change. We have been talking about it for about more than 10, 15 years now. And why we have to focus on cities? Because you have whatever we are investing in has a long-term impact. Whatever big investments we are making in infrastructure or in other soft systems, capacity of governments and capabilities, financial and so on, they are going to last very long. And so we have an additional duty, responsibility that we sort of take into account this one. We already saw this chart presented a couple of times, so I'm not going to spend more time, but we know that SDGs are lagging behind. Let's go into the more juicy part of this discussion given to me by ADPC, systems thinking approach. They asked me to share a few slides with you on building urban resilience. So first, what is systems thinking? Okay, so it's a perspective of seeing and understanding systems as wholes, not just part. Okay, not just part of the pizza, but the pizza as a whole. Okay, and it is a whole is a web of interconnections. Okay, if we can see those interconnections, then you will clearly see what I'm talking about here. This kind of linear explanations, linear solutions are insufficient. So you have informal settlements, and people think this is because of poverty and lack of housing, so provide additional housing. But the Ban Mangkong program from Thailand shows it is much more than that, right? So, and what happens is that when you have this thing being repeated again and again, we create mental models that people living in slum are poor, they are lazy, they're not going to do anything, and we have to spend a lot of money. And so this is what creates a lot of problems. And there are some unintended consequences because of this. So suppose you have a traffic congestion problem, which is common in Southeast Asian cities. What you do, you plan and construct wider roads, right? So it's a single solution. Just widen the road. What is the problem? Then more cars will come, right? More traffic congestion. You could have combined personal vehicle, public transport, and non-motorized transport to come at a better solution. That would be a systems thinking approach. So when we think of cities as systems or cities as systems of systems, as is mentioned in the Urban Resilience Framework from ADPC, you are dealing with different systems. Okay, we have physical or built systems. These are the ones that last long for up to 100 years or more. Then you have socioeconomic systems, which make our incomes, our social networks, social capital. And we have the life-supporting ecological systems, which directly relates to the nature-based solutions. So what are we supposed to do if we have to bring the systems thinking approach to urban resilience? We have to focus on some of these things, okay? And some of these are also emphasized in the Urban Resilience Framework, which Dr. Seneca will present. So first is that we have to consciously adapt or adopt this approach that, okay, we are not going to think in boxes, we are going to come out of our boxes and we will see what is happening outside those boxes. Second, we also see a lot of emphasis on information systems now because of digital technology. It is very easy to make maps, overlay maps, and find those overlapping zones where there will be disasters or floods and so on. And then utilize them and do their regular updating. Third is that understanding the systems approach. I liked one of the presentation where I think Achan was talking about that first we find a common terminology with the community. So here we need to understand what are these governance, planning, development, and capacities, because planning is one small word, but it has so many things in it, which means lots of approaches, and the way ADPC sees it as a lot of applications. So suppose we want to see understanding system-wide problems, then you look at solid waste management and drainage and flooding problem. If you're not collecting waste, your drainage system is going to be clogged. Then we have a multi-stakeholder governance, which is about engagement, as Kurt from SCAP emphasized. And here I underlined community. Community has a specific role. And this is very, very important. And I don't have to say much more about it. I think we discussed in the previous session. Then you have multi-scalar governance. That was also emphasized this morning. And lastly, you cannot forget funding, resources, as well as assets and their management. Cities have huge assets. And if you do not manage them properly, they are going to depreciate and will create a lot of other financial problems. So this is the kind of a framework that we would like you to think through when you are looking at the challenges, needs, and action points in your group discussions, okay? Anyway, this is my brief presentation. If there is any question, I can address it right away. Are we on the same page? Or there is any niggling? No. So great. So I hand over to Dr. Seneca. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Bharat. As it was mentioned in the morning as well, ADPC, we are in a process of developing urban design framework for Asia. We have a draft which is being distributed to you in your dockets. As I was mentioning, it's a draft. So we want to have sort of a discussion with you in this 2-hour session as well as tomorrow, and to get your insights, inputs, in order for us to improve it. This is not the sort of final kind of document, but as I was mentioning, so we can further improve it. So the climate emergencies, which we have been discussing since morning, so I don't need to go through it because this was presented in the morning as well. So it is need of the hour. So we should be having sort of like, proper approach for the solutions to improve resilience, because so much of challenges which we are facing, which we are getting to urban context. This is one of the examples that the climate change is happening. So it is not anymore climate change, it is now climate emergency. So this is the word that now people are using. So ADPC, we have a vision that is actually safer communities and sustainable development through DRR, disaster risk reduction. So this will be ADPC, kind of like, is kind of like, DRR organization and climate resilient organization. So in order to fulfill that vision, we thought of like, developing this framework so that now we can work with the stakeholder, the countries to improve the resilience in urban cities in those countries. This framework is developed, is followed basically three, what you call the core principles, the science. So we need science to understand risks, simple as that. So the indigenous knowledge is very well, we need to acknowledge, but the things are changing so rapidly. So we need science in order for us to understand risks. So we develop systems to manage risks. Finally, we apply those systems, the tools to minimize risk, at the ground level, in community level, or even the urban context. So this framework is also guided by global frameworks, which you all know, New Urban Agenda, Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction, Sustainable Development Goal, SDGs, and Paris Agreement on climate change, for climate change. So this was like, proposed and ratified in 2015, and it goes till 2030. So these, the framework at ADPC, which we have developed, which we are developing. So we have identified key domains, 7 key domains. You can see risk assessment. That is a basis for us to think or build the other solutions. The first is risk assessment. Then it's also important to, in urban context, to improve the systems, multi-hazard early warning system. It's just not like, early warning. This is going to be a multi-hazard. It's a kind of like, complex compound impacts might be there. So we need to have a multi-hazard approach. Then financing. So climate responsive financing. That's also so important. Now we have been discussing about like, how we unlock financing for climate action. For example, countries or the even cities, the metropolitan areas, they do have budgeting, but they are not really putting so much money for this type of activities. So we should have that, we need to raise awareness of the, planners, policymakers in order to, finance this type of activities. Community readiness and local preparedness, that's one of the important things. Because if you just make if you have tools and systems, but you also need to work with the communities to raise their awareness, to educate them to respond to this, the events. Sectoral preparedness, which we discussed in the morning as well, the WASH, health, and other sectors as well, roads, energy transmission, or even the water supply and drainage. Nature-based solutions is a new thinking, which we are not very much using yet. Nature-based solutions may not be able to solve everything, but it's really helpful. It's eco-friendly as well as the economical, which Kunpern also in last session, she elaborated very nicely. Finally, risk-informed governance and planning. So it's also important because we should be having proper governance systems to support those solutions and activities. So these are kind of like areas that we already identified. It's for a discussion. And today, actually, what we are going to do is that to have more deeper discussion in this session on 3 areas. This is again further elaboration of the same. So risk assessment is just not risk assessment. Now the climate is changing. We need to have climate inclusive risk assessment. As I was mentioning, that's for the basis for other areas, the domains, I would say. Multi-hazard early warning systems. So we need to have taking from early warning for all global initiative from Secretary General, UN Secretary General. So we are now getting into the city, early warning for cities, which we are going to have a separate session tomorrow. And risk-informed governance, mainstreaming risk information into governance, the community readiness. Of course, it's kind of like, as I was mentioning, to improve their readiness and then to improve their awareness. So we should be having such CBDRM approach there. And sectoral preparedness, not just one single set, as I was mentioning. So health, wash, energy transmission, water supply and drainage, so and so forth, nature-based solutions, and climate responsive financing. These are some sort of like elaboration, the same thing that I mentioned. So today, we are going to, we already had 2 sessions, the risk informed, the governance, as well as the community readiness and preparedness. And then we are adding one more nature-based solutions into this group discussion. So we are going to have 3 groups, which Professor Bharat already mentioned. So we are going to have that in our group in a minute. And today we are going to have 3, but tomorrow again, 2-hour session, we are going to have another 3 after the 2 sessions that we are planning tomorrow. So expectation from our end, actually, this is a draft, as I was mentioning. So we need to have a discussion with stakeholders, countries, development partners, the donors, so on and so forth, who are in the room, to get their insight and input to further improve, further elaborate. So with that, I thank you. If you have any question or queries, so we are more than happy to answer. Thank you. Over to you, Pin, or Professor Bharat. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Seneka, very much for your presentation. Now, I would like to invite Khun Pin to talk about how we are going to organize the 3 groups, okay? Because there are many different ways, and she will guide you through. Thank you.
Oops, it's quite tall. Thank you, Professor Bharat. So with that, we're going to divide into 3 groups. So the first group here, the group 1, will be risk-informed urban governance. And the second table here will be group 2, urban community readiness and preparedness. And over there will be group 3 on urban nature-based solution. But we would like to encourage you to select the topic that you interest. But also, don't worry if you don't have the expertise on that subject. So that's going to be opportunity for you to learn from the participants and also brainstorm together as well. So with that, again, the same country, it will be also great if you can also distribute among the different topics also. So then we can hear the voice from your country for each of the subject as well. So with that, please take a stand up and then decide the topic that you interest. So here, group 1, I repeat again, risk-informed urban governance. Okay, and the facilitator will be Dr. Naeem here. Yes, okay. And then the group 2 in the middle will be urban community readiness and preparedness, which the moderator will be Khun Warita, the facilitator,นะคะ. And then the last group, group 3 over there, urban nature-based solution, which gonna be Khun Pakasem from IUCN and Shintaka as a facilitator. Oh, apologize ค่ะอาจารย์ So it seems like the group 1 has the most participants. Is it possible to perhaps distribute to another topics? That will be great. So we have the representative from Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, Vietnam, also that has majorities. And also Indonesia, Philippines. Okay. Yes. Dr. Naeem group, your group is very popular. Okay. Yeah, your insightful will be also useful for the other topic discussion as well นะคะ So each of the group will have the facilitators who will guide you on the questions, and perhaps it will be great if you can also discuss to have the volunteer reporter, because after this we will have the report back also on the stage. Anyway, I feel like the nature-based solution group is very interesting. To me, myself, I also see that nature-based solution could be also one of the adaptation to help on the coping with the climate extreme as well. We will have 40 minutes for the discussions from now. Oh, you're what? Just a gentle reminder, 20 minutes left for the discussion. Thank you. 10 minutes left now. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have 5 more minutes left. So just a nice quick reminder. Thank you.
I can see that the discussion is very lively. Like everyone is really full of energies, even almost the end of the day. But unfortunately, the time's up for the discussion time, and therefore, I would like to hand over to Professor Bharat.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Are you done or do you need 5 more minutes? 5 more? Okay, 5 more minutes. Bonus points, bonus minutes.
So I think the bonus 5 minute plus is over. Right, Professor Bharat? With that, I think it's really the time that we're gonna wrap up for the sessions, and therefore I invite Professor Bharat for continue the discussions.
Thank you, Kunpin. I'm sure you are enjoying this discussion, but like all good things, this also has to end, right? And then we would like to hear from you the results of your hard work before you are served refreshments, right? Later. But between this and the refreshment, somebody from each group has to come here and present, and maybe suggest that you bring your sheets, your paper horse. You bring the paper horse and present. So which group would like to go first? Which group number 1? Okay. So risk-informed urban governance, let's give them a big hand. So you can bring it here, and you have 5 to 7 minutes. Okay. Maybe you can put it a little bit back. Yeah, you can have the microphone.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sovita Thanyalak Mehta from Department of Disaster Prevention and Mitigation, Thailand.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shanachon Bamhiwathana, and I'm from Thammasat University.
To start with, I'm not very good in English, so maybe everyone can help me to understand everything. Yeah. We start with discuss with the 3 topic with gap, need, and priority. And the topic the big one is the risk-informed urban governance. We include with the Philippines, Laos, Thai,
And also
Vietnam, yeah. And we start with the gap. The gap is we discuss what we, how to say?
What is the problems
Yeah, what
in
is
the risk-informed urban governance?
Yeah.
Yes.
The first one is the implementation of the gap. I mean, this one is like this is my my problem because I work in the central government. We make in the plan is the problem is about how to implement the plan to the local, how to make it everyone can
Assess
do assess the plan.
policies or the plan.
And another one is the lack of the local expert. This one also linked to the implement. We don't know how to implement. The first thing we need to expert in the local and help them to do how to do
Like an information.
to in
give-
the something like technical or special thing. And another one is about the financing and budget. Like someone said, we cannot implement much because we lack of the budget from the government. And
So sometimes we need to go with the international funding sources or maybe another sector to give more budget.
this one, content focus policy.
Yeah, and another one is contents and how to integrate the policies together with another sector or an organization.
And the enforcement is like someone said, we lack of the enforcement or regulation to enforce the
To-
plan or
Yes, to implementation,
yeah.
right?
cover everything from the graph.
Yes.
So the next one is the need. We need, like someone said, we need the technology or tool for the risk assessment. Like for example, like the data analysis, and also we need the risk assessment for the local level. Like local need to know what the risk assessment, what the lead for them, and like them need to do anything for the reduce the risk. And more involvement.
Maybe
What's it?
participation or involvement,
Anyone can add for the
right?
more involvement?
The community level, yes.
And then
And coordinations with local, like you said it,
local,
and regional and
then
national.
national. And the next one is the budget, allocate budget. Same like the gap, like what the problem and what we need. And this one is early warning system technology for the local area, because like link with the national system. Like if like we have the system in the national, we need the system into the local as well. And this one, PPP.
We need also, we also need PPP investments, public-private partnership, right? Yes, to do a campaign together to intensive the policies or something like that, and also we need the CSR, right?
Everything.
Yeah, and
Brought to the sector.
we need to up to date regulations in our organizations. Yes.
And we add more, another topic is about the access to the sector insurance. We need to, how to say, we need to start with risk financing, about the funding and insurance. And the last one is the priority.
Yes.
What the most important thing that we need to do first? We discussed is around 6 topics. The first one is integrate urban and sector, right? And the second one is the unpredictable disaster. It's like the forecast.
Yes, we need to forecast.
And the third one is the preparedness and anticipate. And the fourth
fourth
one is risk zoning in urban plan. It's like the multi-hazard, right?
Like a fires, floodings, earthquake.
Depend on
Yes.
the type of disaster. And the next one is comprehensive risk assessment. This one is need to do as into the local area. And the last one is not last one.
Information exchange platform.
Yeah,
Yes,
we
and we
need
need
like the
to-
system and technology to do the risk.
Yes,
And the highlighting, is it?
yes.
Is like the multi-hazard early warning that we need to do the first one. Because like if we have the good early warning, so it's gonna be like reduce the damage and loss. And the next one is the risk informed spatial
planning.
planning.
And the last one, the last one is
Opening-
open technological platform.
So include with the disaster warning, risk zoning, and smart impact analysis. Anyone wanna add something from the topic?
Okay, thank you.
Very much. Do you have anybody has any question to this group? Look all very saturated, it seems. Okay, thank you very much once again for this wonderful feedback. Okay, the next group will be second or third? Second group, okay. Will you be bringing the?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Suchitso from National Committee Disaster Management Cambodia. Again, our group have been discussed about how the committee is resilient, right? And we're talking about it. First, we discussed about the gap, and we see a lot of gap. It not reflected to this framework, but the gap of it committee itself about why they are not resilient. It's about like sometimes the community is not well understood about what is the community. It together, right? It's not one single household is we can call a community. Community is about the people living in a group with the leadership, with the authority, all of that together, and we call a community. Disability inclusion. It not just only disability, like inclusion for everyone in the community, like children, like minority group, like some people like the sickness people, elderly people, they are really missed out from there. Information is very important. It's even the community itself that doesn't know about information for its own community. I live in there for 20 years, but I don't know whether the flood is really coming from. That is really a problem, right? Because every day I just doing business outside my community, and the people living there, when the flood is already, I still work in the city. When I come, it's already flood. I don't know flood is coming from. So this is information, you know. Social resiliency, it's very important in this point. The community network within the own community itself that can help each other. It's very important. Social safety net is really play important role supporting the community resiliency. And anticipatory action. This is important. When a group of the community, they can help themselves, it's not just only its own resilience. They need external involvement. External environment is play a very important role to facilitate and support the community is become more and more resilient. And then we're talking about the need, the gap and the need. Yeah. First I said gap and need is the same. When I find out this is gap for myself, you can asking me what is my need. I need something that can fill my gap. Okay? So when we're looking at the framework, we have seen like where is the coordination mechanism exists in this framework that highlights about the engagement of private sector. Because this urban is private sector play very important role in the urban city, not like the rural area, like very far remote. You cannot evolve with the factory. You cannot evolve with the big company, the business that can support you to maintain your livelihood. Is really something that we need to explicit in our framework. And capacity building, awareness, public relation, advocacy, drill, simulation, exercise is something about how we can support to build the community capacity. When the community have capacity, which means that they are ability to do its own M&E. If I know, I have the knowledge, I know that what these people is doing in my community. And then I can follow up its progress, how it impact to my children, how it impact to my community, how it affected to my community when you are starting to do things. So building a community capacity, especially for the leader, community leader, and doing awareness for the wider community to understand about what we are going to do, it really contributed to them to know where I am now. And there is also about the cultural sensitivity context. It's probably it's linked to the group number 3. Forget about what is the cultural practice within the community, and we bring in new thing that is really lead to bring the community fall into a risk. Funding, of course, this is something. It's not just only the community can help themselves, but the government, the development partner need to have that priority. We have thinking about like in the cycle of this, why the developer, they don't put the number 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, because we can start from any of it. Like for my perspective, point of view, we can talking about the governance and planning. When we are having very good governance and planning, like rule, law, regulation, and then it become a priority. When become a priority, the state will put the money. When we have money, we can do the assessment. When we do assessment, we can see why the community is fall into a risk. Because of the early warning, because of they are not engaged, because the sectoral is neglect about the integrated disaster risk and climate change adaptation, because of the nature-based solution is not explicit. This is something that we can do as a cycle. And the question is also being asked. It's not just only our team, it's to everyone. Where to start? How we gonna start? Okay. For making the community resilient, and the partnership who that the community can partner with to work with within their community. That's all about our group. If our colleagues have any additional point, please. Thank you.
I want to show you his diagram. You see, they really worked very hard. You see the interconnections they have made. So ADPC colleagues, interesting. Okay. Thank you very much, Group 2. So let's give a big hand to Group 2. Now, the representative of Group 3, please. How are you going to present? With the laptop? So we may have to move the
From group number 3, I'm Bunanan from Thammasat University.
And Suthatip Deshisi from Department of Disaster Prevention and Mitigation, Thailand.
Yes, we do have the fellow from Vietnam and from the Philippines. So basically, we trying to understand what are nature-based solution at the beginning, but we found out that that is, so hard, to understand the same thing with this term. So this is one of the big challenges, for us, that how, the nature-based solution may sound like a very new terminologies in urban development and city planning, but actually it's not. So we think that we all know that nature is good for everybody, but who should invest on NBS is the big question for that. And another challenge is that we do need the scientific evidence to show and to measure before and after, maybe from the pilot projects or from the small interventions, to be able to convince the first one who should invest on that. And we think that there are some conflicting ideas between we do need the complexity to reduce the energy consumption, but complexity, we don't have much space. But nature-based solution, green space need space. So that's why I think that how we going to overcome this challenge is also the challenge is very important. And also sometimes the nature or NBS could be seen as the beautification or restoration, and somehow leading to the gentrification also, because the space near the public park could be, very expensive, and only the rich people can enjoy that nature. And lastly, the what drive the city to implement the NBS is a key challenge as well for this.
Okay, next slide. So the next slide is about in your opinion, what needs to be done to overcome the challenge? We talk about so the policy consultation and level stakeholder engagement are necessary for integrating NBS effectively into urban planning. Because the first question that we talk about, who is the one who be the leader, or maybe the lead agency, lead organization about the nature base. So we're talking about, like, for example, in Bangkok, it might be BMA as an agency leader with integration with another related agencies. And for the provincial, maybe Ministry of Interior, because we have the governors in 76 provinces under the Ministry of Interior. Maybe he can be a lead agency in the provincial level, like this. And also we also talking about the engagement with the public-private partnership as well, not only the agency in the government, but also include in the private sector. And the next is about the policy deployment, top-down and bottom-up, relevant sectors and local governments. We have, like, for example, for the disaster risk management plan in Thailand, we have mentioned about the ecosystem-based disaster risk reduction. And in the plan of the Ministry of Natural Resources, also mentioned about the nature-based solution. So this means in the ministry level, we have a concept about the nature-based solution. So how we can, so the thing that we do, that we make a top-down policy to the bottom. And in the same time, we have to encourage the local communities, the province, to make a policy like a bottom up, and to meet the top down and bottom up together. And the last one, we have IUCN global standard on nature-based solution that can be used for measuring the effectiveness of NBS. So next slide.
Yes, and how we prioritize the urban nature-based solution in the regions. And first thing, one of our teams mentioning about the Sendai.
Yeah, we're
you
talking
can talk.
about Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction. Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction. The first priority is to understanding. So that's why we think the priority action of successfully advocate is to make understanding in every level, national level, province level, local level, even in the family level. So to raise the awareness about the importance and benefit of the nature-based solution.
And I also want to add on this because by understanding or a nature-based solution is also to understand their standing point. So they may not holistically understand everything about nature-based solution, but at least they should understand what the benefit that they can gain from nature-based solution and what kind of acts that they can contribute to the nature-based solution. So this is kind of the very beginning step of how we make the nature-based solution into everybody interest. And the second one is about the financial mechanism. We all know that is a lot of investment, but actually when you talk about nature-based solution, is low investment because it's just about tree can go by itself. But the thing is that how we can distribute the funding for each actors, from different levels to basically just implement the green infrastructure and nature-based solution. And another thing in terms of the economy, we also might think about the tax incentive, because if the investor or developer can provide some nature in urban area, it's not only good for their residents, for the member of the community, but also beyond that. So that's why the nature-based solution can also give some tax incentive for investor. And also the cost benefit analysis of our NBS need to be clear and measurable to be able to implement that on the projects. And lastly,
so this one, talking about the need to fix clear roles and responsibilities for the stakeholders, because I think we think that it is important to make like a stakeholder map, a multi-sectoral stakeholder that related to this issue. So, but we already mentioned in
earlier.
Yeah. And anyway, we also have another thing that we would like to add it about the mainstreaming the nature-based solution into the provincial development plan in every province to make it implement and make it
so sometimes if it's only the policy, so it's not going to be practical in terms of the official who make the policy possible. So that if we have some kind of the practicality of this policy making process down to the project, so that could be good for distributing and also mainstreaming the concept of NBS.
So that's all for our group. So
Yeah, thank
any
you.
question or any suggestion, please?
Any add-on from our fellows from the group number 3? มีไหมครับ Okay, thank you.
ขอบคุณค่ะ Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I would just like to highlight 2-3 points which I take home, which I liked very much from the 3 presentations, and I won't take more than 2-3 minutes. I think first group, I like the idea of open technological platform, because most of the time this information stays inside, and until people have access to it, especially in today's day and age, then it's not going to be useful, or it will not be used. So early warning system, risk zoning, smart impact analysis, I like this stuff. Thank you very much. The second group, I like 2 points. First is multiple entry points to start resilience processes at the local level. And I think that the things that you did with the diagram was very interesting. The other, what I found interesting, having worked myself at community level, is the proactive role you are talking about. It's not waiting for a city level or a provincial level or national level government to come to you, but you can start this activity by looking at the anecdotal history of things, and then you start to maybe perhaps visit local university, local offices, NGOs, and start to build a dialogue, be proactive citizens and proactive community. The last one in the third group, what I liked is about raising awareness, and I think one of the presenters is from university, so perhaps university has some role to play. Perhaps curriculum needs to be expanded so that this we don't have to do the extra labor of informing people, but this becomes part of the school university curriculum. The second thing is the conflict between compact city and nature-based solutions. And I would suggest that, that's the problem there, but perhaps we should also look for co-benefits. For example, if you have long distance to travel, the city should develop public transport system along with developing nature-based solutions, so people can go far distance and also look at these solutions. And also the point you mentioned about low funding required for such solutions, that's also good. So those are my highlights. Thank you very much. Anybody else would like to add something to the discussion or has anything to share? Okay, we should wrap up. Okay, so from myself as well as ADPC, we would like to thank all of you for your proactive contributions. I saw that it took a little bit of time to build the momentum of discussion, but then you asked for 2 extensions, 5 minute and 2 minute. Unfortunately, we couldn't give you more. I know you're full of ideas. Thank you very much. And for me, it has been a wonderful day of listening to great ideas from so many presenters. And while I teach, I always remain a student and I take home so many things that you have shared throughout the day. Thank you very much and have a good evening. Sawasdee krap.
Thank you very much, Professor Bharat, for the great discussions. And thanks to your great supportive also, Professor Bharat, may I invite Khun Hans Gutman, our Executive Director of ADPC, to give appreciations souvenir to Professor Bharat, please. Thank you very much, Professor and Khun Hans. So before we go for the ratio time, I would like to also announce that we also record all the discussions and presentations for today for the educations and sharing the knowledge purpose. If anyone has any concerns, please let the organization knows about that. Khun Warita, for example, she will also discuss all your concerns on that, if there is any. So without further ado, we also would like to invite you all to the welcome reception, which is gonna be behind this wall, and the food are ready to serve you all, and it's going to be a great way to continue the connections and discussions further. And for tomorrow, let's meet bright and early. So the registration kick off at 8:15 a.m. in the morning, and we will be starting our session at 8:45 a.m. sharp. So it's going to be another day full of insightful discussions and networking opportunities. So looking forward to see you all tomorrow. And until then, please enjoy your leisure time and